Paw Patrol gets cancelled. Chaz changes its name to Chop. Mike Gundy, the Oklahoma State football coach, apologizes for wearing the T-shirt of a right-wing news source while fishing, and Senator Tim Kaine says that the U.S. invented slavery. We'll talk about all of that in this video. So, we'll get right into it. Paw Patrol is cancelled. Why? I have no idea. Last I checked, Paw Patrol was a show for children between 2 and 5 years old. You know who doesn't care about George Floyd and police brutality? 2 through 5-year-olds. Okay? They are the least woke among us. You know what they do care about? New episodes of Paw Patrols. Alright? So unless you're trying to virtue signal to their parents that you care about George Floyd and alleged police brutality by canceling their kid's favorite show, I don't know what you're doing, because the audience that you're virtue signaling to doesn't care about what you're virtue signaling. Alright? These corporations like Amazon or Target or Best Buy or whatever you can think of are all giving these statements about how they're against police brutality. Really, I don't care if you're against police brutality or not. Alright, I expect you would be. I don't expect that you say that you're for police brutality. But I'm going to buy from you regardless of whether you do or don't put this statement out. Alright? Aside from a few really conscious leftists who want to show that they're buying from socially conscious businesses, none of them care. And this is just so dumb and pointless. I can't believe it. So, Chaz, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, has changed its name to CHOP, the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest. Why did they do this? Because they want to keep getting government welfare. Alright, so Chaz, which was the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, had originally put out a cardboard sign on its outskirts saying, "You are now exiting the United States." Now, Chaz was pretty much ill-conceived from the beginning. They let in a whole bunch of homeless people, and then they stole all their food. And then, of course, they tried gardening, and they laid down cardboard on top of sod, and then put like 2/10 of an inch of topsoil on top of it, and laid some plants on top of that. Let me tell you this: they're not gonna grow. Okay, even the only thing that could maybe grow in 4/10 of an inch of topsoil is brome grass, and unless the residents of Chaz are going to develop rumen, are going to develop a rumen, meaning that they have the ability to digest grass like goats or cows or sheep or deer or animals like that. People cannot digest brome grass, and all of the foods that they would probably try to grow in those 4/10 of an inch of topsoil need to be planted deeper than that. Okay, a carrot has a taproot that goes deep down into the ground. It cannot survive on 4/10 of an inch of topsoil. The thing is, they say that they're the autonomous zone, yet at the same time they have a list of demands / requests from the federal government. One was asking for more pants. They want ICE, the good kind, meaning not immigration's customs enforcement. Apparently they're running out of minutes for their cell phones, so yeah, yeah, when you're rebelling against the country, the biggest thing is, oh my gosh, I'm about to run out of minutes. Um, but honestly, like, we don't have anything to worry about here. Okay, these people have no idea what they're doing. They're we'll just wait till they run out of food, and then uh, eventually they'll just get so hungry that they'll come back. Okay, so yes, I know they're changing their name for more welfare, but how about let's not give it to them so that they quit acting like morons and just maybe maybe they'll be driven sane by their hunger or something. Not insane by the hunger, but sane by their hunger, since apparently when they have a full belly, they're just incompetent morons who don't know what is going on. Alright, we already had a war about states leaving the Union. Do we really have to have another war about the same thing? So, moving on, Mike Gundy was out fishing, the the Oklahoma State football coach was out fishing, and he was wearing a T-shirt that said OAN on it. That is One American News Network. Apparently, it is a right-wing news source. I think it's an online news source. I'd actually never heard of it prior to them now making this big stink about him wearing a T-shirt. Apparently, he watches it from time to time, and you know, that's fine. I don't care what Mike Gundy watches for news. And so I think there was one particular player that said how seeing that picture of Mike Gundy in that OAN T-shirt hurt his feelings. How soft is your ego? How soft is your self-esteem that you're emotionally hurt by a college football coach wearing a T-shirt? Okay, and of course, Gundy said how he thought about it, and he realized that T-shirt hurt their hearts. Like, hold on, how did the T-shirt hurt your heart? And then he apologized to former players. If you were a former player and you're like, oh my gosh, my former football coach wore a T-shirt to a right-wing news network that hurts me so much. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Get over yourself. Okay? He is not answerable to you in what clothes he wears while he is fishing. Alright? He is out in the middle of nowhere. He could wear a CNN T-shirt and I wouldn't be insulted about it, because he's fishing. Alright? I wear clothes that I have no opinion on, or maybe even don't like the message that they have. But the thing is that I wear them while I am farming, and they get dirt and grease on them, and eventually they get thrown away. Alright? So why should you care what T-shirt Mike Gundy wears when he's out in the middle of nowhere having a little fun in a boat? Get over yourself. Alright, now, Senator Tim Kaine from Virginia said that the USA invented slavery. Alright, so the colonial, basically law enforcement, the Virginia Attorney General or something like that. I can't quite remember the exact wording. But basically that the colonial law enforcement was invented to deal with fugitive slaves, and that basically the slavery did not exist in the New World until we showed up. Did this guy ever read a history book? Did this guy attend high school? Okay? how do you think the Aztecs built all those temples? All right. When the Aztecs kidnapped a bunch of people from neighboring tribes, they probably killed some of the children for human sacrifice. They kept the women for their sexual pleasure, and they used the men for slave labor. Okay, I mean, the Aztecs were the ones who killed 87,000 people over 4 days to christen a new temple. All right, they also killed what was it, 14,000 children. They suspect by tearing their hearts out while they were still alive, and apparently they recently discovered a mass grave of a bunch of dead children with their hearts torn out in a area that was originally had been owned by the Aztecs way back. Okay, we did not invent slavery in North America nor in the world. Africans were taking each other as slaves. Black people were taking each other as slaves long before Europeans ever had an interest in it. All right. Now, if you're gonna believe this whole 1619 project thing, one of the first official slave owners in the New World was a guy from Africa. I believe he was from the country of Angola. I believe he was a black guy from Angola who owned slaves in North America. He had moved to North America and was a slave owner here in the New World. Also, many Native American tribes took each other as slaves. They would take prisoners of war and they'd use them as slaves. Alright? We did not create slavery. Now, maybe you could say that the amount of slavery that was the amount that the slave trade was sort of producing in Africa went up. Okay, maybe, but that is simply taking part in something that already exists. That is nowhere near creating something. All right, and the Europeans held slaves for a long time before 1619. The Egyptians, even if you read the Bible, the character Malchus, who had his ear cut off by Saint Peter in the Garden of Gethsemane, he was a slave to he was a slave to, I believe, the high priest Caiaphas. So slavery has existed for eons and centuries upon centuries. Alright, this is not something that we came up with. This is not something that we made bigger than what it really had already been. Alright, North America in particular, maybe Europe, alright, but not North America. Alright, so Tim Kaine, why don't you read a history book for once? And come back after you've actually done a little research and realized what actually took place before you. Alright? Oh my gosh, that is one of the most idiotic things ever said. I have one subscriber, so I would like to thank that person, whoever they are, for subscribing. I want the rest of you to subscribe, okay? One down, 999 to go. Let's get this thing to 1,000 subscribers. Then I can start doing really cool stuff like live streams and stuff. Like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment. So let's take this channel to new heights. Thank you for watching.